JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 10th of November 2020. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos. And of course, our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to pick up here is the Nikkei 225, and look at this beautiful move. Now yesterday I talked about this target, this 25,254 level, which let me just quickly remind you. Well, actually I need to jump into a monthly chart for this one, to be honest, because this is the level that I was aiming for, and I was saying that this is the high of the highest point of November 1991, guys. So that's where we've traveled to. That's where we are kind of right now, near this level. Basically, yesterday we had a nice hit of that, and then it corrected back down. So don't get me wrong. I mean, not sorry, no, it wasn't yesterday. It was today. We had a nice rally here. Yep, we had a nice test of this area. So basically, now all eyes are going to be on this. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to figure out why the data seems to be lagging here. So okay, this is quite an unusual one, guys. So let me just pick up on this very quickly. So okay, right now then. Yes, the rally happened nicely here. Yep, we did have a move, and we even had a move above this area. So basically, something is wrong here on Nikkei on the TradingView Nikkei index. Right. Okay. You know what? Let me leave this one later. I'll jump on Nikkei during my traders tea time, because something is like I said, it's not right here, because the levels that we managed to reach yesterday during the evening, and where the or sorry, not during the evening, but after hours, the cash index, the Japanese cash index, managed to reach the area near the 25,900 level, so basically well above this area. So let me pick up on Nikkei later on a little bit, because during my traders tea time, because I'll have a look at and I'll do a bit of investigation what's happening here with this chart, because at the moment it's not really looking actually that well. So now then, jumping into Shanghai Composite instead, guys. Now, here you can see that, and by the way, let me just jump into a daily chart. Here you can see that the price has drifted back down. Today, it moved back below this 3,368 territory. This way, kind of indicating that maybe it's time for a bit of a correction here to the downside. Now, what I'm going to do here is, yes, I'm going to consider this idea of a possible correction, but if it remains somewhere above this 21-day EMA, either above the 3,326 territory, or as I said, above this 21-day EMA, then still the main idea here could be to the upside. So basically, in other words, something like this here could be possible. So now then, and for now, although overall I'm still targeting this upper bound of the range here, and this medium-term range near the 3,457 territory. from the very short-term perspective, there is a possibility of seeing a bit of a correction here to the downside. So let's keep an eye on that one, and let's continue observing this this price action, where this 3,326 territory could be tested again, but this time as a potential area of support. So keep your eyes on that one. Now jumping into DAX, the German index, and look at the beautiful rally we had yesterday. And what I was saying, that if we get a further push north here, yesterday in my morning video, I was saying that if we get a further push north above this downside line and above this 13,000 mark, then yes, it could open the door towards this next potential target here near the 3,263 territory, which is marked by the high of the 18th of September. We had a test of that area wonderfully, and then the index kind of corrected back down a little bit here. So if we look at the cash index, we can see that the price is still hanging above the let me just double check very quickly, but yes, it is hanging still above this psychological 13,000 zone. So basically we have a bit of a decline here, a bit of a correction here, but the price remains above that psychological 13,000 zone. So in other words, there is still good potential for this one to move higher, and in a way, how we could look at this is that as long as it stays above this downside line taken from the high of the 3rd of September, then yes, we could continue targeting the upside. Now let me just adjust this arrow. This is no longer valid. It worked out, but if it starts dropping below this level right here, the 12,842 mark, now this is where it could become very interesting, and we could see the price may be correcting even further down. But again, at the moment, we cannot really talk about that idea unless unless we see that drop below this downside line and below this this 12,842 territory right here, which, as you can see, acted as a good area of resistance, then support, then resistance again, and then resistance again. So now maybe it could take its role of support, but if it breaks, then yes, like I said, it could open the door towards lower areas. So, but for now, the short-term kind of view here is that there could still be a bit more upside for this index. Maybe not today. Maybe today it could calm down a little bit, because we look at this. I mean, from the beginning of November, this this index is just rallying here nicely to the upside. So maybe a bit of a correction here, a bit of a kind of a pause could happen, and then maybe we could see more upside later on in this week. But again, that's just an idea for now. Let's see exactly how it's going to work out. Yep, and we'll take it from there. DXY. So DXY, the dollar index, pushed nicely to the upside. It failed to reach this 91.75 territory I talked about. That's the lowest point of September. That was my next target, and to be honest, I mean, look at this. I mean, it got held here instead near this 92.24 level, and just to show you what that level was in the past, basically that was the low here. And let me just grab this one. There we go. That's the low of the 14th of May 2018. So somehow this level instead kind of provided good support, and yeah, we saw the dollar index popping back up here. So for now basically we will take a bit of a cautious approach, because if you want to look at some lower areas now, probably I would wait for a drop below this 92.24 level instead, because again, just to be on the safe side, because a nice good drop below it would confirm a forthcoming lower low. In terms of the upside, a push above the 93.55 territory right here would be ideal, and then yes, higher levels could be met. So basically, in other words, we're waiting for a pop above this 93.55 territory before aiming for some higher levels. Gold, yesterday we saw this sharp decline. It drifted lower. It stayed below this 1877 territory. It drifted further south. It broke below this the lowest point of October here, and near the 1860 territory. Tested the lowest point of September near the 1848 mark, and then reversed back to the upside here today. So basically, for now, this move higher is seen as a temporary correction, because we're still trading below this downside line taken from the high of the 18th of August. So basically, in other words, as long as it stays below this downside line, still now there is a likelihood for this one to move further south. And also keep your eyes on DXY, because if this one starts popping higher here, yep, gold may reverse and move to the downside again. So be very careful with this one. In terms of the upside, if you want to look at some higher levels, well, at least a push back above this 1911 territory right here could do the trick for more buyers. So yep, for now, guys, be very careful, be very cautious, and let's see how all this is going to play out. But for now, all eyes are on this downside line. WTI oil. So WTI oil, the commodity is trying to make its way up again. Of course, what I was saying recently, that if the 39.23 level here, if the commodity remains and keeps this candle, yesterday's candle, above this 39.23 level, then there's a good chance for this one to drift further north. We've seen a resurgence in the, of course, in the oil-related stocks. So basically, of course, all based on the fact that oil has pumped, well, not pumped, but moved higher. Yeah, guys, I mean, keep an eye on this market. This is quite interesting, and especially keep your eyes on this barrier, this 41.46 level. That's my next target, guys. And if we get a nice break above this, now this is where it could become even more interesting for more buyers. And then, of course, have a look at the oil stocks. I mean, something to keep in mind, because again, if oil continues to pop higher, then, well, I mean, those oil stocks which were at the which are still kind of sitting at their lows. I mean, if you're thinking that you might have missed the move, maybe then wait for a bit of a correction and then try to examine a possible move higher. However, if you're skeptical about this, of course, you know, you're the judge. Yeah, I mean, something to consider. I'm not saying that this is like a good move, but again, it will all depend on oil, because if oil starts moving higher here, then yep, oil stocks are something to consider. Now, Ethereum, of course, jumping into a crypto. And here, overall, of course, we can see that this crypto is above trading above this upside support line taken from the low, the 13th of March. At the moment, I'm careful with this one, because if you can see it clearly here, but if you cannot, let me just jump into a 4-hour chart. And basically, what we're having here is a potential pennant. Basically, we have this nice triangle formation. So in other words, we are waiting for a violation of one of the sides of this pattern, and then we could consider the next potential directional move. Of course, at the moment, you can see that the prevailing trend is to the upside. So basically, this could be seen as a possible bullish pennant, which could break to the upside. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I mean, we've seen this happening several times where we break to the downside. Basically, instead, the crypto or the instrument breaks to the downside, and then it kind of reverses back later to the upside. So in other words, a lot of people who are thinking about this idea here might start entering earlier, and yep, then this reverses back down. Instead of the pennant, it ends up forming a bullish flag, and then kind of this reverses to the upside. So basically, we have seen these scenarios happening. So that's why don't rush into anything yet. If you want to look at some higher levels, well, wait at least for a push above somewhere above this little area right here. Or actually not this one. No, I do apologize. Yesterday's high. There we go. 459.60 territory, roughly around here. A nice good pop above it may open the door towards higher levels. But at the moment, I'm gonna keep an eye on this idea here for now, where we could see a bit of maybe a corrective move lower. and then a move higher. But again, that's just one of those ideas. At the moment, in general, what you need to keep an eye on is this just this formation, and wait for that violation break. If you want to look at some downside, as I mentioned to you previously, well, I mean, I've previously looked at this level here, the 404.50 territory, but now probably could even start looking at the 421.40 zone, and if that gets broken, then yep, lower levels here could be met. Jumping into a few pairs now, just bear with me one moment as well. I just want to quickly double check the economic calendar, right, okay, so now, but coming back to AUD USD, seems that I'm having some problems here with, I hope you can hear me okay, guys. I mean, at the moment it seems like there's some issues with the internet, I think, but no, that's, you know, it cannot be true. But anyway, coming back to this, no, that's all fine. It's all working nicely. So issues with the economic calendar. Right, basically coming back to AUD USD, here the situation is in a way pretty much straightforward. Basically we can see that the pair seems to be willing to pop higher. However, this barrier here, this 0.7289 territory, or in a way we could round it up here towards the 0.7290, this area here is kind of providing very good resistance. That's marked by the high of the high of last week here, and basically yesterday we did have a nice pop, a strong pop to the upside. However, as you can see, the bears then took control quickly and drove this this candle back down here, and this candle remained below this area. So what we need here is another push, a strong push higher, in order to get a little bit more excited with the upside. But again, at the moment we cannot really talk about that upside, although it's clearly stating that there could be more upside. For, like I said, wait for that confirmation break, guys, because what I don't want to see here is another false breakout and then this one reversing back down. So if, by the way, if we do get a nice pop, if you do enter a position, then probably the wait, let's say, until you're slightly in profit, then place your stop loss just on a break even, just in case this somehow reverses back down, because don't forget that we do have DXY, which popped higher yesterday. So yeah, that might, if DXY starts pushing higher again, then that might weigh in on this pair, and we could see this one reversing back down. So my downside scenario is roughly from the 0.7245 territory right here, marked by the high of the 9th of October, and then and that's, by the way, the highest point of October as well. And then yes, we could consider maybe some downside, but at the moment we're stuck here, so let's wait for that confirmation break. Now in terms of the there we go, the economic calendar started working. So basically we can see that there is some data coming out later on. We did get some data from UK. Average earnings came out much better. Employment change was on the lower side, but the average earnings, including and excluding bonuses, came out much better. And I'll jump into GBP in a while. But another data set to keep an eye on is, of course, from the US. We have the job openings number, and well, we have the EIA short-term energy outlook. So keep your eyes on that one, and that could be more valuable for oil. But coming back to NZD, coming back to the pairs actually, NZD JPY, here you can see a beautiful sharp move here to the upside. Yesterday the pair did test the highest point of September near the 71.98 territory. It overshot it. It tested that 72 territory and slightly above it. Now we're seeing a bit of a corrective mode here. I mean, that's fine. It's okay. I mean, that's quite healthy. Maybe it could even correct here all the way towards that 71.22 territory, marked by the high of the 15th of September and the 18th of September, and then maybe we could see another further push north. Now the next target here, if it overcomes this 72 territory, my next target will be, the ideal scenario is this one right here, not this one, but this peak right here, the highest point of January. and that's near the 73.35 mark. Now that's my next good target. Of course, don't get me wrong, at some point we might see a bit of a correction here. I mean, we're seeing that correction already, so maybe a bit of a curved move here to the upside here could be possible. Now if you're looking for some downside, now of course ideally I would prefer to see a drop below this area right here, the 68.76, and this area in between these two levels, the 68.76 and the 68.64. But we could start looking at some downside if we already see a drop below this little hurdle right here, the 70.50-51 zone, which is marked near the high of the 9th of October and near the high of the 4th of November. A drop below this may lead this pair back down towards this highlighted support zone that I have here. But for now, keep your eyes on this barrier on the 72 mark. USD CAD, quick update here. So USD CAD, basically, let me just refresh this chart. And the most important, what I'm keeping an eye on is this lowest point of September near the 1.2995 territory, which, as you can see, yesterday, yes, it got violated, but the bulls were strong enough to bring the daily candle back above this area and end it here. Today, we'll see if we can get another attempt of breaking this area. If we do, then yes, we could start looking at some lower levels, but if you are entering your positions here somewhere, then again, break even. Once you're in profit, break even, please. Yep. Just in case we will get another false breakout. That's what, if you want to be on the safe side, you could wait for this daily candle, or should I say wait for a daily candle to remain below this area and then aim for some lower levels. But at the moment, given that we already had a bit of a decline here, maybe at some point we could see a bit of a correction here to the upside as well. DXY is showing willingness to travel a little bit maybe higher, but yeah, keep your eyes on this one, guys, and be very careful and be very safe, because again, we already did have a nice move lower here, but it could continue traveling further south, especially if it drops below this 29.95 territory, and then yes, we will aim for that yesterday's low near the 1.2928 zone, and then we'll take it from there. In terms of the upside, if the pair moves somewhere, not here, but it moves, let me just quickly capture this one. I think is that one. This is the one that I'm talking about. So somewhere above the 1.3177 territory, marked by an inside swing high of the 22nd of October and the high of the 5th of November. Now this is where we could start looking at some higher levels, and then we could start aiming for for these highs that we saw here in the end of October and the beginning of November, and then we'll take it from there. Now GBP USD. So again, as I said, the data, we had some data coming out here today. So the average earnings, and there is seen a bit of positivity in the pound. However, we'll be very careful because, like I said, because of the US dollar. Of course, at the moment, all eyes are on this this 21st of October high near the 1.3177. A nice good pop above it. Yep, could open the door towards higher levels. But to be honest, given that we already saw this little pop here, if we see the daily candle remaining above this area today, then yes, that's when we will get a little bit more comfortable with higher areas, and then we'll target our next 1.3287 level, this resistance level, which is marked by the high of the 7th of September. In terms of the downside, if we see a drop below the 1.3093 territory right here, somewhere here around here, then we might consider maybe a bit of a correction here towards this upside line. Euro JPY now also had a nice wonderful move here to the upside. Here it's a little bit of a tricky situation, I would say. I mean, we had a nice move higher, but it remained below this highest point of October near the 125.16 level. It came close to testing it, but failed to move higher. So basically, although yesterday we saw a nice push higher here, given this situation, given the technical picture here right now, to be honest, I would rather prefer to wait for a pop above the 125.16 level first, and then aim for some higher levels. Then we could start looking at maybe the high of the 10th of September here, or in other words, I think that's the highest point. No, that's not the highest point. The highest point of September is this one right here. So the high of the 10th of September is near the 126.46 level. The highest point of September is near the 127.07 territory. So we'll keep an eye on those two levels, but only if we get a pop above the 125.16 level, which proved to be quite an important area of resistance. In terms of the downside, I would like to wait maybe for a drop somewhere below this area. Let me just grab this one. There we go. Somewhere below this area, the 123 mark, and then aim for some lower levels, because again, let's be on the safe side. Let's allow it to move a little bit here, because maybe it could drift a little bit lower, test the EMAs here, the 21-day, the 100-day EMA, and then reverse back to the upside. So that's why I have these two levels here for the upside, the 125.16 territory, and for the downside, the 123 territory. And finally, Euro USD. So there we go. Good reversal. Good reversal back down. It drifted back inside this little range. I mean, it's no longer range, but nevertheless, I'm going to keep an eye on these two levels for now. But basically, it drifted back down, and now let me actually just redraw this a little bit here. So basically, the highlighted area will go here now because it's a more important level, and the downside scenario could start from here. So basically, yesterday it popped higher, tested this 1.1917 level. I talked about this one, guys, and basically what I was saying that yesterday, that if this holds here, we might see a bit of a correction lower. But to be honest, the only thing where I was wrong here, that the correction lower will actually lead to a drop back below the 1.1867 territory. So in other words, now I'm going to take a bit of a neutral stand here, but if it drops below the 1.1787 territory, this is where I'll look for some downside here, maybe even aiming back for this 1.1612 territory. In terms of the upside, if you want to look at some higher levels, guys, then at least we need to see a move back above this 1.1867 territory, and then yes, we could consider higher levels, but in that case, we'll still need to see that daily candle remaining above this area. So guys, this was a very quick update, quick review. I'll have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching and listening. If you want to catch my video later on, my trader's tea time is always 14:15 GMT. Like I said, I'll have a look at what's happening here with Nikkei, and then yeah, we'll take it from there, guys. Thank you very much for joining in, and have a nice trading day. See you later.